So here we are, we're staying at the Wheatsheaf in Horsell. This is the back entrance, which is where it's convenient to go to the rooms. You check in at the bar, and we're staying in it's an okay room, but I'll tell you what, it's seen better days. It is in need of some doing up, the rooms and so on here, but it's a good enough place to stay, very convenient for everything, so it's good enough. So here we are around the front of the Wheatsheaf, and you can see actually there's a fire escape door just above the entrance there, and the windows behind that. That's our room, room 313. This is the front of the Wheatsheaf, as we will always remember. It was never really my pub, to be honest. I did come here sometimes. It was famously a drinking hole of Paul Weller. We did occasionally frequent the public bar, which was to the right side there. It's all that's a sports type bar now, similar sort of thing. And opposite we have the sports field, and then that's all parts of Horsell Common behind that. So a nice outlook in front of the Wheatsheaf. Now then, since I lived here in the 70s and 80s, the bridge across the Stoke Canal there has been much widened. That was a much narrower road came across there, and this of course was a T-junction here, and you could spend really a lot of time in the morning trying to get out of Brewery Road and turn right into the town. But now it's a mini roundabout, and this came about allegedly because the Conservative headquarters is just across the roundabout there, local Conservative group, and one of their senior members had an accident getting out of there, and suddenly what they had said wasn't a problem suddenly became a major problem that required a mini roundabout put in. So that's where that came from. So here's the Basingstoke Canal. This also has been much done up. You could probably sail boats down it now if you wanted to. Certainly when I was here in the 70s, it was a dump. It was overgrown, it was full of rubbish and shopping trolleys and all that stuff, but they'd spend a lot of time and money doing it up, and it's looking a lot better these days. Big change at this junction too. You used to be able to just come out of the road from Chobham, where the grey car is going now, and you came out onto the main road, but that was one lane there, and then the other lane was just straight through. There were no traffic controls at this junction, nor could you turn right from the northbound into Chobham Road, and nor could you cross the road here at all. You had to go through the tunnel the other side there. So coming out onto this island here is a complete novelty, because you used to have to go under the road through those steps across the way there. By the way, those flats there used to be the Victoria Hospital, small cottage hospital, obviously not necessary anymore, and there used to be some sheds associated with it, some prefab buildings, white prefabs over there, but there's now the, I believe that's the Lightbox Photographic Museum, and yes, I have been to that before, and it's most interesting. Here is the man himself, H.G. Wells, author of War of the Worlds, set originally up on Horsell Common, just a couple of miles from here, and this is him here. There we go. It wouldn't be Woking without McLaren. This is their sort of office facility, and they've got a factory and track testing just up the road, up the A320 towards Ottershaw. And what we've got to say about McLaren, of course, is it does stand on the original site of Terry's Newsagents, which used to be here. Terry's, I believe, does survive and is just a bit further up the road these days. Now, just here was Eve French, florist, where both my sister and I worked. Her for a lot longer than me. I just drove the van a few Saturdays now and then during student times, but that's obviously hasn't survived there. So here we are, number 1 Crown Square. This was at one stage sort of the centre of Woking when it was built in the 80s, and right next to it we have the War of the Worlds machine. That's obviously from the American film, but it's a reimagined. The original War of the Worlds was of course set around Woking, with the Martians actually landing on the Horsell Common just up the road. Even one Crown Square is small by modern standards. Now this here is Concorde House, where my brother and sister-in-law used to work for Hogg Robinson many years ago. It's somebody called Moore Barlow now. I don't know what line of business they're in, but the building is not very different. But it's not Hogg Robinson anymore. Okay, so here's Barclays. It wasn't always there. It used to be up by the station. And then this is all changed. Now, that was the library and is the library there, but it was a different building. It was part of the Centre Halls complex, which has all been sort of long since demolished and overrun by the Peacock Centre here, which was never there before. This has always been the town square, although it's changed very much in years. And now, just down here, roughly, was a little bike parking place where I used to park my bike when I went to work in McFisheries on Fridays and Saturdays. And in the ultimate insult, I came back to my bike wanted to find the bike had been left there, but my padlock had been stolen. Now I think that was a comment on the state of my bike, which I had for 7 or 8 years by that point, but I was offended nevertheless. So here we are, here's the town square. Of course all the names are different, names that didn't exist in those days. And of course things have appeared. Many tall buildings have appeared in Woking in the last few years. Gone are the days when the BAT building, built in the early 70s, was the highest building in Woking. It no longer is. Starbucks here used to be Mac Market, and then after that International, who took over. But it's now all Starbucks. There used to be a Burton's Tailors on the corner there, and the rest of Mac Market was down. Of course, this was never enclosed before, which is that's a modernised thing. So here we go, let's go in. This was the rest of Mac Market. It's now Vision Express. And then we used to have Dixon's just a little bit further down. A name now that's completely gone. All Currys now. Very good to see Harper's Photographic surviving. Even through COVID and all that we've been through, Harper's is still here. Good news. Now this, believe it or not, is the road out of the old multi-storey car park, which has been repurposed into what they call here Market Walk. And it's so completely different. It's just all street food, fast food, all that kind of stuff. Some of it does look quite tasty, I have to say. Veg here looks great. Huge, and it all looks top quality as well. And here we are with the Christ Church there. Again, that would have looked over towards Mac Market, but now there's a whole layer built in front of that. So here's Woking's main claim to fame. It's Woking Station, and what's so good about that is that you can be in central London at Waterloo in about 28 minutes, which is why there's so many flats around here. It's people who work in the city, commute in and out. Just looking around here, the bus station up that way. Budgeon's supermarket used to be Barclays Bank, and then this frontage has all changed. They've also taken away, they used to have a cover over this whole area, which they seem to have taken down, got rid of. That's up there is Albion House, as was the second tallest building in Woking after the British American Tobacco Building. Nowhere near now, of course. And just in there we used to have the Albion pub, scene of massive punch-ups every Friday and Saturday night at the very least. So there you go. So we've come through the tunnel to the other side of the railway station, and that's Albion House again there. And this is the front side properly of Woking's very Art Deco 1930s built railway station. Still largely untouched, but the skyline behind it is now very, very different. See, British American Tobacco is still there. It's the smallest building of those, but they're building just up and up and up now. M&S Simply Food, right by your train, between your train and your flat is M&S Simply Food. Just pick up some food, pop it in the microwave, go home. There you are, Woking Station, very different. So had things been like this when I was at school, I'd have cycle wayed along here and across the road there. But actually now I had to mix it with the lorries through that hairpin bend there in the rain and all, so things do get better sometimes. Looking back towards the railway station, that's a very different view. There used to be just a telephone exchange there now, and there's now all these flats here. Very up and coming, but I don't know. I can't really decide whether this is sort of trying to be twinned with Lower Manhattan or Croydon, and I think it aspires to the former but ends up looking like the latter, would probably say. But it's just all going up and up now, Woking. Over there, the glass windows of our assembly hall. Of course it's no longer an assembly hall, heaven knows what it is now. Part of Woking Police Station. There's the front of the school. So there's the school, and then of course that ever-changing skyline. What they've lost here is most of what was actually on the island there. Linton House has gone, what used to be variously an antique shop and a car dealership and Blockbuster Video, that's all gone now here. That's what these blackboards in front are. But fortunately over here, the Sovereign's public house is still going strong by the look of it. Completely rearranged internally from what it was when I used to frequent it 40 years ago. And that's that. That'll be worth a go in the gluttony department. With 2 steaks. And you can see there some of the demolition that's gone on. And a different view of the old school. And I would say the rest of this is not terribly long for this world by the look of it. The shops are all closed pretty much, and I would say the demolition will be complete next time I'm here. Yeah, so this is a very different outlook on what used to be my cycle up that hill and round to the right to go to school. It's not that long since Evans Cycles has gone from here. That was here and in business the last time I did this sort of filming in 2019, but it's all very much changing here now. So here's the view through Victoria Arch, where they've completely closed off the A320. That'll be some diversion to get around all that. I assume it's to do with this major construction project that is still going on here. And look at this. Whoa. This is just gigantic, isn't it? Not quite sure who this is. Could even be Michael Jackson, who knows. It's Commercial Way. Now some things do stay the same, and I actually remember coming to this shop here the day it opened in 1975, so 46 years ago. And we'll head on back a different way. This is council offices here, the new library. So we're looking at where the centre halls all used to be a long time ago. It didn't last long, the centre halls. Built about 74, demolished 1986, something like that. And this of course is all relatively new as well. There's the Basingstoke Canal again from a slightly different perspective. And we'll end this with a question. This is a choice. Are you for the world or against it? Well, a better question would be, in my view, how do we save our civilization and the planet? Because I'm being greedy. I want both. Good.